When I talk about culture development, what do I mean? In essence, your organisation's culture is how it feels to work there. And very often there is an imbalance between how the organisation would like it to feel for you to work somewhere and the reality of how it does feel. Or there's an imbalance between it feels like this for some of us and it doesn't feel like this for others of us. But your culture says this is the way we do things. It says this is the way that we are with each other. It says these are the values that we have as individuals. It says that these are our organisational values and how we live them internally, as well as how we live them externally with clients or beneficiaries or with our cause. The thing about our culture in the last few years is that because of all the stuff that's gone on, we have taken, most of us, a battering of some description, and our organisations have also taken a battering. So we've had to deal with fast pace and largely unwanted at the time change on an individual, on a team, and on an organisational level. And because of, again, that fast-paced change, a lot of that culture stuff hasn't yet caught up. If you then look at what's happening in the world now and the fact that we are still living, eating, breathing human beings and teams and organisations in a very, very different world than existed in January 2020, we've got a seriously challenging external environment where lots of organisations are experiencing either an increase in demand for delivery or a very different demand for delivery. They're also experiencing a total change in that external landscape of how things are being delivered. Who are you working in partnership with? What does that look like? What is it that people want from that delivery? And there's a seriously challenging financial background in which your fundraisers, your engagement specialists, your supporter care specialists, your comms specialists, in which to generate the support, the income, the volunteering, the engagement and the money, basically, you need to deliver that work. And so if you put those external challenges on the top of the challenges we've been through, and the fact that our culture has largely been left behind, not a lot of these things have actually risen so much into a challenge that they've come to the top of our lists. Because let's be honest, those lists are full of things that we haven't got much space for. Something really has to go wrong before things make it to the top of that list. The thing about workplace culture is you want to avoid at all costs getting to that something's got to go really wrong stage. And in the work we've done in the last 4.5 years, since I set up the company we now call Lift, we've done a lot of work with organisations who've got to that. We've got to this problem stage. And in the main, the causes of those have all been, the really root causes have been in one or more, as I said yesterday, of 8 areas. And absolutely, I'm not denying that there are very, very many challenges on people's lists at the moment. And that challenge anyway is being dealt with by a group of people who are unrecovered from the events of the last few years. The thing is, if you let any of those people things fester and build until they get to that massive problem, till they force themselves onto that list, there is so much unpicking that needs doing. All the other stuff is going to be impacted. So why not then, if you're not yet at that stage, why not join a program that has been specifically built for companies that are already under a lot of pressure, for organisations that are doing brilliant things, whose colleagues are already stretched, but where we know we need to give chance for that culture, for that communication, for that sense of belonging, for that interaction, for the how do we make a team feel like a team when they're working all over the place? How do we apply the right kind of boundaries and expectations to workplace culture rather than taking a sledgehammer to crack a nut? So many organisations are trying to resolve some of these challenges by saying everybody has to be back in the office. It's not the answer. My daughter's school, my daughter is 15, they have a vaping problem, and so I'm not sure it's still happening, but it certainly was. Their solution for the vaping problem is they've locked all the toilets. So now they've replaced a vaping problem with a water infection problem and a really cross parents problem, because that, whilst it's a solution, it's not the right solution. And so why not come and work with us for a year? Why not come and work with me and Lisa? And we will, over the course of 12 months, work you through step by step. Here are the areas we need to pick up some stones and rocks and look underneath. Here are where we need to get, way too many cliches and analogies, but here is where we need to open all the cans and get all the worms out and get all the worms lying in a straight line, get them all in order and work out what do we need to do. Now, the thing we know about approaching work like this is, even by starting it, things start to get better. People believe that, well, what you said about this, we can see some work happening about it. And because of the way we structure the work, people will see continued work. They will know where to go and look and see where we're up to with this thing. They won't think that, well, we started this ages ago and it's dropped off the list. So if you hear in your organisation that you're struggling to rebuild relationships, that it's really tricky to get new people who are working from home embedded as part of a team process when everybody's working from home, or when not everybody's in on the same day, and we're not going to use that as a stick to beat people with, or if being able to make change in a way that says we're going to systematically and in a way that is at a pace that we can cope with, but we know that just by starting the work that people are going to feel better about it, come and find out more about Rise.